All right, welcome back to another episode of Riding the Wall. Chad and Justin, tag team podcast champions of the world.
Yeah, but no contenders either.
No,
I mean, nobody wants to
yeah, there
step up.
ain't nobody gonna step up to that. So how's your week been?
Uh, Been wet.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of rain up here. A lot of
Wet and windy.
wet and windy. Had some bad ones on Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday and today.
Just had some good rain today. Good little storm. Still raining. So a lot of our town just doesn't have any electricity. So we are one of the lucky ones. So we'll see if that continues. Hopefully it does.
How about you? How's your week?
Yeah, kind of hot. Been working.
Yeah.
Working for the most part. I was out working in all that smoke yesterday. That was just weird.
Yeah.
Just weird. I mean, it was hot as hell. And sweating my balls off.
Thanks, Canada.
Yeah, no doubt. They act up one time, they need to calm down.
Appreciate the smoke, eh?
I don't know what that's all about. But we got Nashville in rear view. Looking ahead to Chicago. What'd you think about Nashville? Anything stand out?
No, nothing really stood out. I was expecting to see a few more drivers faster than what they were, but wasn't a bad race. I mean, it was what you want a race to be. It wasn't a lot of beating and banging, but there's a lot of green flag pits, good strategy involved. It was a good race. No drama and no penalties.
Yeah, no drama, no penalties. I mean, what's the world coming to?
Right, it's like, when's NASCAR even there?
Mm-hmm. I did see just a short time ago. We're recording this on Thursday, so I did see just a few hours ago that speaking of penalties, that the penalty for Legacy against Eric Jones, he had that greenhouse penalty. They upheld that, so that's going to stand. And I found out, I think, if I heard right, I think I jumped into this conversation, or overheard. I'm not going to say overheard. It was on the radio, so. But I think I caught it mid-conversation. I believe they were talking about what happened in that incident, which is weird. Something that I would never think to do. But, that's why these teams are making the big bucks. If I understand it right, and they were talking about this, I believe it was the window net. They fabricated, I guess they made their own window net. And the holes in the window net, they had made them smaller.
Cut down on air force.
Yes.
Yeah.
To cut that air coming into the car, which who would have even thought about that? I mean, you think of a window net, you think of a standard. They're all the same. Well, they're not. They made their own and they got caught. So, I mean, hats off to them, because that's something I would have never thought to try or do.
Right.
But they did it, but they got caught. Fortunately, unfortunately, however you want to look at it, whatever side of that argument you're on. But that got upheld. That's the only penalty news that I'm aware of at this point. I agree with you as far as Nashville. It was a great race. Ross Chastain wins. He didn't have to knock anybody out of the way. He didn't have to cause any trouble, piss anybody off, or get punched in the face on his way to the winner's circle.
Right. That's probably my biggest surprise of the race was the other 35 drivers let him win it.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no, hey, you remember 2 years ago? Bam.
Yeah.
I mean, he raced clean and everybody raced him clean. And that it surprises me more that one of those Chase Elliott's, Denny Hamlin's, Noah Gragson, somebody didn't turn him around.
Yeah. Yeah, and you could see, I mean, you could really tell, even watching it on TV, you can tell that his car was coming into it once that sun started going down. So I don't know if that's what they were planning for, I'm sure it was, but their strategy worked. So hats off to Trackhouse. Everybody was wondering, is Ross Chastain going to win to get in the playoffs? Well, we found out he did. So, and he was able to do it clean. He didn't have to piss off Big Rick this week.
It's almost like he was listening to the podcast and heard what I was saying about finesse.
Yeah, I believe he did. If the internet chatter is right, I believe that's what happened.
Right.
But it was a good race. No complaints whatsoever. But the big news is we are looking ahead to Chicago. Um, I know I've said in the past I thought this was going to fail. I thought it was going to be just a big old, just big thumbs down. You
Well,
know.
they're putting on Chicago's, and I don't know if it's the city or if it's NASCAR. They're putting on a pretty big show up there. They're having 2 or 3 days worth of concerts around, a bunch of big name celebrities singing up there before the race and the day before the race and everything like this. They're turning that whole area there into a big old party. It looks like. Now, I'm not a fan of Chicago myself.
Right.
Period.
I've
I
never
mean,
been there.
I've been right there. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of what goes on there.
Yeah.
You know, to me, the only two good things that come out of Chicago was pizza and the fucking Road Warriors. You know, and for people that don't know, that's Hawk and Animal, Legion of Doom.
Well, I've never been to Chicago. My daughter's been a few times. She loves it, but she loves going to all them big cities like that.
I'm
It
not a
scares the hell out of me
I'm
when
not
she
a fan of the
goes.
politics and
Right.
what goes on up there. That's what I mean. As far as the shopping, Lisa, they like it. I'm not a fan of it. I'm just not a fan of the politics. Period. So if I'm not a fan of your politics, I don't want to be in your area.
Right, and I'm right there with you. I
Yeah.
mean, as far as Chicago, it's a beautiful city.
Yeah.
I've just never been there. I've wanted to go. There's a lot of things up there that I'd like to go and see, and be a part of. But I'm with you. The politics is just not my cup of tea. So I'm gonna stay away until I feel that might be a little bit better. But and that's kind of the way it is with a lot of big cities right now. It's just weird. It's just a weird world we're living in right now. But I've kind of changed my tune with the race. I don't know if I've completely changed my tune. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but
I'm
as
excited to see a street race.
as of this moment,
I
I'm
don't
kind
want
of
to see
excited
two.
to see what it's going to do, how
Yeah.
it's going to go. Is this something that's going to be overwhelmingly good that we're going to be looking forward to next year as soon as this one's over? Time will tell. But I'm not a big fan of turning the Brickyard into a road race either. So
Well, they need to
it's not
bring
a street course,
they can
but
keep the NDGP if they want, but they need to bring the Brickyard back.
yeah,
You don't mess with that.
yeah,
But I mean, it's first and foremost. I want to see it be a safe race for the fans and for the drivers. But next to that, you've got to keep the speed.
hmm
If you don't have speed in a NASCAR race, you're going to lose people immediately.
yeah,
Period. It ain't no fun for
hmm
anybody. It ain't no fun for the drivers. Ain't no fun for the fans.
yeah. And I was listening to Allmendinger. Somebody was interviewing Allmendinger this week, and he said they were asking about the speed that this track might have, and he said he pointed out the longest straightaway on the track. I believe it's right there by the fountain, right there by the finish line. And he said that in that straightaway, they're probably doing about 140 at their fastest part of that straightaway. So that's not bad. I mean, it's not Daytona, it's not Talladega, but 140 on a street race could be interesting. I mean, I don't know. I haven't been looking forward to this race so much that I have looked at the track layout. I haven't done a whole lot of my homework on the Chicago race just because for me personally it's just let's see what
Well,
happens.
with our style, our the NASCAR that we're fans of,
Hmm.
we're fans of the circle track racing.
Yeah.
We grew up watching it. We grew up watching dirt racing. We've never even really cared that much for road courses. I'm good with a couple a year on a road course. Sonoma, Watkins Glen, call it a day.
Yeah.
If you want to put a third one into the chase, do it. Whatever. But NASCAR's going to evolve. They're going to try things. I'll be open to seeing what it's like. But if this thing fails, they need to leave it alone. They need to not bring it back. They don't need to try it somewhere else.
Right. And I'm afraid that's what they might do. If it doesn't turn out as successful as they want, which I don't know how high they've set their own bar, but if it's not as successful as they want it to be, are they going to go to New York and try it? Are they going to go to LA and try this? I mean, they've already got the Coliseum out at LA, but
Right.
you know,
I say we shut down 400 miles of Interstate 65 and see who can get from.
From Chicago to Louisville the fastest.
Right.
See what happens. That'd be fun. There'd be a lot of pissed off people out there, wouldn't it?
I've drove that interstate many times.
Yeah.
Pretending
Yep.
that's what's happening.
Yep. Thinking I've got a number on the outside of my car.
I promise you, you're only going to go too wide.
Yeah. Yeah. Watch out for that construction. That gets tricky. But it's, I mean, now, because like I said, before I was not really looking forward to it. I thought it was just going to be the biggest flop they've ever tried. But now now that it's here, I'm kind of intrigued on what it might be, what it might turn into, as far as just a curiosity standpoint.
Well, and I think a lot of what what NASCAR's plans were to do too was to get more fan base, more fan involvement out of it, and it looks like it's doing that already.
Yes, I also heard that of all the people that have bought tickets, 82%, I don't know how they know this or get this stat, but 82% of all tickets sold so far are new race fans. That's impressive.
Yeah.
I will give them that. That's impressive. Me personally, I don't know if I would want to go to a race like this just because I feel like you would only see the cars in one turn. You're only going to see just there they go.
Right.
And then for another 5 minutes, you're not going to see a whole lot. And then here they come again. But I just...
I don't know, maybe if we get one of them skyscrapers there and kick a window out, we could
kind of
watch the
it.
whole thing.
We might. That's a good idea.
Was it Sears Tower? Is that what's there?
Yeah, I think they got that one room that like pokes out at the top there. We can just kick out one of the windows. Yeah, we'd have a good view then.
Yep.
That'd be all right.
Right on the wall, literally.
Yeah. Right. But so I mean, I don't really have a whole lot. I mean, I know there's so much talk and so much chatter about Chicago right now. I don't really have a whole lot to add to that.
Hope it does well.
I do. I hope it does well. And along with that, hoping that it does well, I am happy to see that NASCAR is not afraid to take chances like that. They're thinking out of the box, and they're not scared to throwing dirt on Bristol, going to Chicago streets, turning. Oh, there's some good thunder. There's some thunder. Turning Charlotte into a Roval just to see how it goes. Well, some of it works, some of it don't.
I kind of feel like my kid's about to head off to college with NASCAR right now. It's like, you've got a great opportunity here.
Mm-hmm.
Go and do your best. If you fuck it up, don't come back.
Right. Don't call me.
That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah. Yeah, you figured out how to get yourself in that mess, you can figure out how to get yourself out of that mess. I've heard that many times growing up. But what do you think about another Chevy winning at Nashville?
I'm not surprised. Not surprised at all.
It's just a Chevy year.
Yeah. You'll have those.
Yeah. At least it's not a Toyota year. But because I'm looking at the schedule, I'm seeing Atlanta's coming up. That's going to be a Chevy track. New Hampshire coming up. That's a Chevy track.
I don't know. I think Atlanta might, as bad as I hate to say it, I don't think Atlanta might be a Toyota track.
You think so? I think I know, for fantasy reasons, I know who I'm going to pick at Atlanta, and I know who I'm going to pick at New Hampshire. As a matter of fact, the next four after Chicago, I think I know who I've got. But actually, I do have a Toyota penciled in for New Hampshire.
Probably got one penciled in for Richmond too, don't you?
I think I do. But other than that, I got all Chevys. I got a Chevy in Atlanta, a Chevy at Pocono, Chevy at Chicago.
And we're only what, 9 races until the playoffs.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Speaking of that, let's play a game of quick fire. You want to? Well, hold on. Before we get to that, let's talk about Chase Elliott. Of all the things that Chase Elliott's done this year, of all the stupid things he's done this year.
He has done or hasn't done.
He went snowboarding. That turned out to be a dumb idea. He got mad at Denny Hamlin. That turned out to be a bad idea. So now that, with all that being said, he finds himself in 25th in the points. He's 64 points out of the playoffs right now. So he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 8 people above him, 8 drivers above him.
He's got 9 races to win, to get a win and get in,
Yeah.
or he's got to make up some.
Do you think, in your opinion, do you think he can get into the playoffs without winning a race? Looking at those drivers that are in front of him, you got Priest, Haley, Cindric, LaJoy, McDowell, Allmendinger, Gibbs, and Bowman. Bowman is only 2 points out of the playoffs right now.
I do. I do think he can get in, but I'm saying that because I'm not saying that because Elliott is going to gain so many points. I'm confident he'll gain, but I don't think you'll see huge gains in Elliott. But I think you'll see huge fall offs from the drivers above him.
That's true. That's true. I think Priest, Haley, Cindric, LaJoy. Nothing against those drivers. I just think Elliott's gonna, he's in better equipment. Let's be honest with it.
Right, he's in better equipment, and their track styles ain't coming up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's what I was kind of moving towards, because then you got Allmendinger. We've got 3 road courses before the playoffs with Chicago, Indy, and Watkins Glen,
which is a good thing for Chase too.
Right. That plays into his style.
It's not a bad thing for McDowell either. McDowell's a good road course.
Right, and he's said many times his favorite track is Watkins Glen. So, so then that leaves kind of Bowman and Gibbs.
But I think you'll see fall off from Wallace. I think you'll see some from Suarez as well. I think
Suarez has not had a good year.
Chris Buescher, who's in 14th right now, I think he's having a fantastic year. He don't have that win yet, but he's right there. He's chomping at the bit. It wouldn't surprise me at all if he don't get a win this season. So
yeah, Ty Gibbs has. I mean, for a rookie, going into this season, I hoped that he did.
What he's done.
Nothing. I hoped he did nothing, because I wasn't pulling for the guy after what he did last year and just the attitude and everything that he had.
The entitlement.
Yes, the entitlement. Grandpa's boy, he's moving up. He pushed Kyle Busch out of the race car, and it just everything made me not want to pull for the kid. But he's just been minding his P's and Q's this year. He's making sure he's just making his laps.
He's not doing nothing his homework. Like he was in Xfinity.
Right. He's not being that little asshole that you just want to wring his neck. He's just
wrecking his own teammates.
Stupid stuff like that. That's just
don't
need to be there.
I think Grandpa maybe had told him, "Don't be so stupid to kick yourself out of this sport."
Yeah, these guys on the track will run you out. Not the fans, but the guys on the track will run you out of this sport faster than anything.
And the sponsors ain't gonna.
Yes.
The sponsors don't want bad publicity either.
Right.
If your name's getting brought up every week for being an asshole and this and that, it's harder to get people to put their name on that car.
Right. So he's been doing a pretty good job.
Yeah.
In that ride right now. So
he's impressed me so far this season.
I'm still not pulling for him, but I'm not pulling against him as hard as I was earlier. So he's doing good. He just needs to keep doing what he's doing. He's only 10 points out of the playoff picture, and like you said, Suarez is right there on that line. He's only 12 points behind Suarez.
Yeah.
So
and going back to fantasy, I took Ty Gibbs this week at the Chicago street race, just in hopes that one, he's going to be in a Toyota. 2, he's a kid. Kids love that stuff. They're good at it. They enjoy it. I always excelled at things I enjoyed more than things I didn't enjoy. So,
yeah, I think Elliott's gonna. I think he can get in on points without winning a race. I think he's still going to make the playoffs. It's gonna be close. It's gonna be tight. He can't afford to have a bad race. He can't afford to get Chastained and end up finishing 34th, or that's done. Then it becomes a must-win situation, in my opinion.
And Chase has a really good, as good a chance this weekend as he will have all year to get into the chase.
Yeah.
So
I was looking at the favorites to win at Chicago, and there was like 4 or 5 of them that were tied. There was no clear favorite. There was like 4 or 5 of them: Chase Elliott, Larson, Allmendinger. Who else was it? I think Kyle Busch might have been in there. But Suarez, Blaney, Logano was just right outside of that. So, I mean, there's 10 guys, 10, 12 guys that could win this
Yeah,
race.
yeah. I'm going to say Cindric is a
And Cindric, yeah.
Cindric's a excellent.
I almost picked him in the fantasy thing. I really thought about it. But I thought, no.
Now,
I've had Dinger penciled in on this race for a long time. I'm just going to go ahead and stay with it. Even though every time I've picked Allmendinger, he has not done me very good. I'm still holding out for that one race that he's going to do me pretty good. So hopefully this is it.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, while we're talking about Chicago, let's go ahead and talk a brief 4 or 5 minutes about this. It was Jimmy Johnson won't be there in Chicago this weekend. This news broke Monday evening, Tuesday morning, sometime that Jimmy's in-laws. There was a tragic situation out in Oklahoma where they're from. His wife Chandra, it was her parents, and Jimmy and Sandra's nephew. I don't know what you'd really call it. I don't want to go as far as saying domestic issue or nothing like that, but there was a murder-suicide out there that involved Jimmy's mother and father-in-law and the 11-year-old grandson. And don't really know what to say about that. I mean, it's a horrible situation.
I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
Could not imagine.
Jimmy's got every reason not to be there this weekend. Just, I guess all I'm going to say is, NASCAR world, give your thoughts and prayers to Jimmy, his wife, and their family.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully hopefully they find out what's going on out there and they can
ain't nothing you can say to
get some
ease,
sort of closure.
Yeah, there ain't nothing you can say to ease that pain, but maybe give them some closure. And there's not been a lot said about it. Jimmy hasn't put a statement out, and he shouldn't have to if that's not what he wants to do. That's up to him and his family, and whenever they feel the time is right. But it's just a bad day, bad week for the Johnson family.
Yeah, and he was looking forward. I mean, from what he said, he was looking forward to the Chicago race. Yeah. So,
and I wonder if back to what I said, everybody just keep them in your thoughts and prayers. But getting back to NASCAR, I wonder if somebody else is going to be sitting in the 84.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it.
Yeah, neither. But
I haven't really dug into it to.
I haven't either.
Look, I just. That's just a tough place to be. I feel bad for him. I feel bad for all involved with that. That's just horrible.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thoughts and prayers to Jimmy and his family. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully they can get some closure and move past that someday.
Yeah.
But
Justin Marks, he's still going to be in a car.
Yeah, he's still supposed to be in the Xfinity race. That's another thing that I was going to talk about. The Xfinity cars are going to be up there. So you've got 2 completely different types of cars running this race. So it's going to be kind of neat to see the differences.
Well, I can tell you the differences. Everybody that watched Sonoma and everybody that was pulling for Suarez knows how bad that can hurt a driver.
Yeah.
Because Suarez raced in the Xfinity race at Sonoma on Saturday, and then he raced. And the difference, one of the differences between the Xfinity cars and the Monster Energy cars are the shift pattern. Mm-hmm. So, was it lap number 1, lap number 2?
It was like turn number 1, right. I believe, because I had Daniel Suarez.
Okay. So Suarez goes in, and
Pissing
the
off.
muscle memory from doing this all day long in the Xfinity race, muscle memory, you just shift. Your mind.
It's second nature. You don't even think about it.
Right. So he goes from doing this shift pattern all day Saturday to going into turn 1 on Sunday, and damn near blowing his car up. Mm-hmm. Missed shift, and
because the shift pattern in the Cup cars is just it's a line. It's up and down. That's it.
So he ran his car up to 9,700 RPMs in turn 1 and about blew the damn thing up. And they had to take it easy for a while to make sure that car wasn't going to blow. But those drivers that are I get it. if you're a driver that can get in there and do it, learn that track on Saturday, it's great. But you better delete your muscle memory Saturday night
Right.
if you're going to do any good Sunday.
Yeah, as soon as you're out of that Xfinity car, you better go ahead and get on the simulator and start getting that muscle memory for the Cup car.
Yeah.
So that way you don't have that
Suarez
downshift Daniel.
moment.
Yeah. Don't want to get that nickname.
Yeah.
But let's play a little rapid fire. Just I'm going to shoot a name out, and you tell me your first thoughts that come to mind about that driver. Are they doing good? Are they doing bad? What do they need to do to get into the playoffs? What do they need to do to win a championship? Whatever you think. All right. Let's go with Chris Buescher. What do you think about him?
He's doing everything right. And I'll say the same thing for Brad Keselowski. I think Brad and Chris are working very close together on this with their team at RFK, and they're heading in the right direction. Yeah, they don't have that win yet, but if you look at where these guys were last season to where they're at now, it's impressive.
It's night and day difference.
That team has probably improved more than any team in NASCAR.
I would agree with that. What about Daniel Suarez? Honest opinion.
Honest opinion.
First thing that comes to mind, shoot it out.
I think he needs to be in a different racing series.
You think so?
Yeah.
He's in over his head?
Mm-hmm. And I don't mean that as far as Xfinity goes. I think
You think he needs to be in something like Formula One?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because he's not an unsuccessful driver. He's talented.
Right.
But he's not, as long as he's been in the sport, as long as he's been at the top level in the sport, I mean, he drove for Stewart Haas. He hasn't progressed the way a driver should, in my eyes, as a fan, and as somebody that pays very close attention, especially when you're on my Stewart Haas team. I pay very close attention.
Right.
And I think he needs to be in a more road course friendly series, because he's not a bad road course driver.
No, I mean that's a specialty.
Right.
So.
But I think that would make room for somebody that deserves to be in Monster Energy even more.
I think with Suarez, I think it's all in his own head, because he started the year off blazing. I mean, he was top 5, top 10 every race for at least the first, I don't know, what was it, 6, 7 races. He was like one of the cars to beat, and now he's just kind of dropped off. So I think, and those swings are big at that level. Or I don't know personally, obviously, but they have to be. If you're in the top of any sport, football, baseball, basketball, a lot of it's mental. You have to be mentally prepared every time you go out to perform. And I think when things are going good, it's a whole lot easier to get your mind right. And if things are not going good, it's a lot harder. And I think that's where he's at right now. He just don't have a good mindset going in. What about Bowman?
Bowman? I've got an opinion about Bowman, but I don't know if it's right. And that opinion is that he likes being there, but he doesn't really want to be there. I think he's a very good talent, but I almost feel like when when I fail at something that I want to be good at, it frustrates me. Mm-hmm. I've never seen the guy frustrated. Yeah. In a couple of years. I've never seen him frustrated in a few years. And, I mean, good for him if he's that chill. You know what I mean? But it would really, really bother me. Because he's had some success. He's got some wins, but you've never seen him dominate.
Right.
And anytime he's got second or third or fourth or fifth, and they talk to him, he's just like, I guess that's okay to be that way. Just grateful you finished in the top 5. Yeah. But I'd be the guy standing there kicking my car.
You're gonna be more the Kyle Busch type, pissed off because you got second or third.
Right,
Which, yeah,
but I mean, I've never seen any passion out of him. I guess
right.
is the best way
The
to
fire,
say it.
that fire.
I mean, even when he's won, I mean, he's happy he won, obviously, but I mean, right along with me kicking my car, I'd that guy would be stone cold and beers right there on the
right.
on the on the start finish line. I mean, it's I don't know. I guess that's just the. I mean, I think he deserves to be there. He's not a bad driver. He's steady.
Yeah.
But you just never see any emotion from the guy.
Right.
And I don't like that.
Yeah, he's just kind of stale. He's just
Yeah.
stale, vanilla,
But
just
I mean,
turning laps.
William Byron's the same way.
Well, that was my next one. Can
know?
William Byron win a championship?
This year, absolutely. I think he's. I feel like he's put in a lot more time in the off season. I mean, yeah, they only get like 2 months, down, but I've seen him progress. Whereas you haven't seen many people his age progress. He's another guy that's not very emotional, not very passionate. He's happy to get what he got, and he's happy when he wins a race.
Yeah, and I kind of stepped away from NASCAR for a few years. Right at the time that Tony Stewart and Carl Edwards and some of these guys were exiting the sport, I kind of stepped away because, in my mind, without those kind of guys, I didn't really want to watch it. I wasn't at that time. I wasn't willing to put my efforts into pulling for somebody like a Chase Elliott or some of these newer guys coming up. So I stayed away for a few years. And during that few years that I was away, Bowman and Byron came into the sport. And I'll be honest, for the first year that I was trying to learn these guys, now Bowman was in the 88 car. I don't remember what car number Byron was in. He might have been in the 24. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he was.
Or maybe it was Chase Elliott in the 24 at that time.
Yeah, Chase was in the 24. Yeah.
I don't know what Byron was in, but I kept mixing them up. I couldn't remember the difference between Byron and Bowman just because of kind of what you said. They're just kind of plain Jane or vanilla. They're just turning laps. They're both on the same team. They both names start with a B.
So I think Byron was in the 48, and when Bowman came, Bowman went into the 48. Byron went to the 24.
Well, I thought Bowman was in the 88.
Yeah. Well,
was he not?
Yeah.
See, I don't remember. See, that's the thing. I mixed both of them up because of those same reasons that you just.
I've drank way too many Busch Lights during these races and ever since, but.
But now I know the difference, obviously, and I'm keeping up with them. And to me, to say which one's the better talent, I don't know because they're right there. They're at the same point.
To me, it's Byron. He's got more wins.
Yeah, he's got more. I mean,
he's showing wins on road courses. He's showing wins on mile and a halves.
Mm-hmm.
He's to me he's more
consistent,
more of a Swiss Army knife than Alex Bowman is. He can compete on any type of track.
Right.
But I don't dislike Bowman by any means. I'm
starting to like the kid. Yeah. I kind of like the big hat thing.
I'm just speaking from what I'm seeing, and but that just like you mentioned, when Carl Edwards and Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, all these guys leaving the sport around this one time, we were losing our characters, and we were losing our characters and our.
It was the guys we grew up with.
Right. But they were all super passionate people.
Mm-hmm.
When they didn't win, everybody knew about it.
Oh,
when they did win, everybody heard them.
Yep.
and that's what our generation loves and grows to expect.
Yeah. Who's going to have the most wins at the end of the year?
Kyle Busch.
I agree with that. I think Larson might be a close second. If he can stay away from Ross Chastain, but I think we've settled that.
Maybe every year after this, Kyle Larson, but Kyle Busch started this season.
He's proven a point.
Yeah. He's on the Kyle Busch tour right now.
and there's not a track that he can't win at.
Right.
So he's always a threat. But let's see who else we got here. Austin Cindric. First thoughts of him.
He's middle of the pack to me. I think he's a talent, but he's damn near pushing me right there towards what I said about Suarez. I mean, that number 2 car isn't a car that somebody that's not going to win needs to be in.
Right.
I'm a big believer in that. That 22 shows up to victory lane pretty often.
How long
that
does that
12 is right there behind the 22. That 2 car has done it once in 3 seasons.
Yeah, I was going to say, how long does that Daytona 500 victory carry you as far as number of seasons?
It ain't carrying you very far with me. Because that's more about finishing the race than it is being the best out there.
And last one, Bubba Wallace. You don't have to answer that if you don't want to. You can pass. I'll ask
okay,
you another.
No. I mean, we've said this. You and I both said anytime on these podcasts that he's mentioned, we'll save it for another time. Well, we've arrived at another time. So, Bubba Wallace. I don't care about his skin color. I don't care what all the critics and ones you can call fans say. But it ain't about skin color. My problem with Bubba Wallace is a few seasons ago, I don't even remember what track it was, Charlotte maybe, where the piece of rope was found.
The garage pull down rope?
Yeah, the piece of rope was found and it got blown up into a BLM issue.
Yeah.
That's what it blew up into.
That was during the Me Too movement with the whole George Floyd thing.
Right. So I'm not saying because I wasn't in the garage. I'm not saying it was Bubba that was screaming and crying and.
If I recall, it was one of those tracks that have been on the schedule for years, like a Darlington or something like that have been forever,
But it got turned into a spotlight moment, a political moment. That should have never happened because at the time, I think Bubba Wallace had one win, maybe not even that first win yet.
I don't think he did at the time.
And to me,
but he was coming up
his,
there.
His first win was a rain delay.
Yeah, at Talladega.
Right, and I'm not a fan. I'm not one to say he earned that win. And I'd say that for all 38 drivers out there. Justin Haley's only win was at a rain delay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, great, yeah, he was up front, but to me, you didn't win that race.
You didn't run the full race.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's just my opinion as a NASCAR fan. I get why NASCAR does that because some tracks don't have lights.
Mm-hmm.
And they can't spend all week there. So, my problem with Bubba Wallace is whatever happened in that garage area to where, there's 70 garage bay doors.
Every one of them have that same rope,
every one of them have, just like my garage at home and many other garages around the nation, have that 2-3 foot piece of rope that has a loop tied on the end that so when your garage door goes up you can grab it and pull it back down. Mm-hmm. And it was laying on the floor. Somebody made a big deal out of it about somebody threw a noose into Bubba Wallace's garage area. It proved that NASCAR, that the people in NASCAR as far as the drivers and the teams and everything go like that they stand behind Bubba Wallace and against racism when they all pushed him and his car out there. Mm-hmm. The whole pit road, all them teams and owners, drivers, crew members. Now, my problem is they brought politics into NASCAR. Fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Because this ain't the sport for it.
If
you're going to come into the sport, I don't care what your skin color is. I don't care if you're male or female. I don't care if you're black, white, yellow, brown. Mm-hmm. It has nothing to do with that. I want the best 38 drivers in the nation
in those
on my
cars.
racetrack every weekend.
Yeah.
That's
And
who I want in my field entertaining me because I'm a NASCAR fan. But the moment that they screamed and cried about that and it brought that whole mess with it, I have not had an ounce of respect for Bubba Wallace.
and for me, like you said, when they were pushing the car out, all the drivers and all these crew members were help pushing his car out there. It would have been just as easy. Let's take the flip side of that. Why didn't any of those crew members, drivers that seen that, I'm going to call it a handle rope, um, that pull down rope, they've seen that thing for years.
The way I
Why
understood
couldn't
that,
any of those people? I mean, there were hundreds of guys pushing that
well,
car
that's
out
just
there.
it. The way I understood it went down was somebody in Bubba's garage found it and ran to NASCAR office with it.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? And then the only thing you heard in the infield at the racetrack, somebody threw a noose into Bubba Wallace's garage area.
yeah,
That's not a noose.
right,
But nobody's seen it except for the people that ran with it.
yeah. Well, what I was gonna say is, why couldn't any of them drivers or crew people set them down and said, "Hey, that's not a noose. That's a pull down rope. It's been on. You've been in this garage for a few years now, Bubba. You have seen that rope for years. You know it's not. Don't get crazy with it. You
Right.
know,
But
don't, because this is going to make a lot of people not like you.
right. But
You
did
know.
NASCAR want the politics to come into it so they could have their moment? You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Right. But
There's a lot of unanswered questions I have, but the fact of the matter was they brought that in there, and I don't care if it's Black Lives Matter. I don't care if it's LGBTQ things. I don't care if it's presidents and vice presidents. Keep politics the hell away from it.
right.
You know.
Right. Just yeah. Keep politics where politics need to be. Keep racing where racing
when
needs
I
to
go
be.
when I go to a race on Saturday or Sunday, I go and forget everything I've been seeing on TV and hearing on the radio. You know what I mean? It's my time to just watch what I love and
Yeah.
hear what I love. And
The only time I get political at a racetrack is when I stand for the
absolutely,
the national anthem.
absolutely,
You know.
well, you got to keep the prayer and the national anthem.
Yes,
But-
but that's what I'm saying. That's as political as I get because that's the flag. That's my flag.
This is and I 100% down and agree with that.
but I don't view it as political.
But
you know.
NASCAR isn't a stage for anybody else's platform.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what I don't want it to turn into.
Right.
If Bubba wants to go out, or his crew, or whoever was behind that whole thing, if they want to go out Monday through Friday and campaign for BLM and do marches and do whatever, do it.
Yeah. Whatever makes you happy.
Right.
You know?
Stand for what you believe in and be a voice for what you believe in, especially when you've got that platform of being a NASCAR driver. But don't do it at my race on Sunday.
Right.
Period.
Yeah. And that's not the only sport that happens in. You know, you got LeBron James in the NBA, and I'm sure
you
there's
had
others.
Kaepernick. Look what he did to the NFL. You know.
Right.
I mean, that's.
Yeah.
I don't want that to happen to NASCAR.
Yeah. I
He-
agree.
he-
I agree with everything.
I
I
mean,
agree with all that.
He pissed all over the NFL, and he's the one suffered for it.
Yeah. He's without a job.
If Bubba's at the top of his game, he deserves to be in NASCAR. Period.
Yeah.
But
It's just one of them. Be grateful for where you're at. Get in that car and drive it. You know, let your talents speak for you.
right.
Don't get on TV and make an ass of yourself and piss off half the people that are watching.
And
or
don't
whatever,
get that
you know?
don't get your whole world. And when you're a NASCAR driver, your family is all those other NASCAR drivers and crew members and owners, and that's your family in the infield right there.
Mhm.
And when you make them feel like you was done wrong, and then come to find out you wasn't, you just lost their respect too.
Yeah, it's like
you know?
crying wolf.
Right.
You know? Yeah, you don't have to like the guys around the track with you, but you got to respect them, and they got to respect you. You know, there has to be so much respect, or you're gonna get put in the wall every week.
So that's my brief.
Well, I can't disagree. I can't disagree with any of that. Yeah, I said that was going to be the last one. I'll make it the last one.
Let me throw you one. Corey LaJoy.
Corey LaJoy. I like Corey.
Do you think he'll get a win?
This year? No. Even though we do have Atlanta coming up, that's his best track. He finished 4th in the spring.
I think you picked him there, didn't you?
I did pick him there.
I remember
I'm pretty sure I probably
think.
let everybody know for about 2 weeks that I picked him.
Yeah.
And I still will. And if I can find a Corey LaJoy t-shirt, I'm going to pick it up. Same with Allmendinger. If I can find me a Dinger shirt, I'm going to pick it up. But Corey LaJoy, I like him. I never really paid much attention to LaJoy until I started kind of watching his or listening to his podcast on there. It kind of gives you a feel of what the drivers are like outside the car. And he seems like a pretty cool guy. You know, he's got his head on straight.
He's a friend of everybody.
Yeah,
you know.
and you gotta like that.
Yeah.
You have to respect that. I hope he gets an opportunity, maybe in some of these bigger.
I think he can pull it out at Atlanta.
I hope he does. I really hope he does.
We got your back, Corey.
Yeah, we got your
we'll
back.
We'll be cheering for you.
Yeah, but I really hope he gets an opportunity in one of these bigger teams, and I hate to say better equipment because all the equipment is supposed to be the same right now, but let's say a bigger team with maybe a thicker playbook on how to set these cars up and how to get around these tracks better, because I think that would serve him really well. And if he can get that opportunity, I do believe he'll get a win. But, that might be a few years down the road. I don't know. Hopefully, I think he just had a bad race when he was subbing for Chase Elliott. And I don't think that's the true Corey LaJoy. I think he just needs a little bit of time with a team with a deeper playbook. And those wins will start coming because he's aggressive.
Yeah.
He's aggressive
fast
when he needs to be. He's fast when he needs to be.
Let me ask you.
I can't say he's always making the smart decisions because I haven't followed him very long. But,
right. Let me ask you one last question.
Fire away.
Noah Gragson, Ty Gibbs. Who gets Rookie of the Year?
Ty Gibbs.
Why?
Because he's doing better. Just because of the seat that he's in.
Right. I mean, he's going out there. He's racing clean every week.
if you
Noah Grayson's going out there racing clean every weekend too. They're just on two separate teams. One's a Toyota, one's a Chevy. Mm-hmm. But
I feel like if you put them two guys, if you take them to the local go-kart track, you're going to get one hell of a race because talent-wise, they are right there with each other. Gibbs is just able to show his talents a little bit more because he's with, like I said, a team with a deeper playbook. He's not with a new team. He's not building his career while he's helping a team build their name. He's with a team. Ty is with a team that is with an established team, and he's got some veterans around him.
Yeah, that's the difference right there. Now you can't say no, it doesn't, because you got Richard Petty, you got Jimmy Johnson.
He's got Petty and Johnson teaching him. But they're not on the track to say, hey, do this, do that. Try this or try that. He's got Eric Jones. Eric Jones is somewhat of a veteran. He's not the Truex or the Hamlin that Gibbs has beside him. So I think Gibbs wins Rookie of the Year just on that. That's not based on talent.
Now, do you include, when you're basing this decision, do you include the Noah Gragson, Ross Chastain scuffle?
No, I do not.
Because Noah would get the Rookie of the Year.
Is this off of a fan vote, Rookie of the Year, or is this based on results on the track? No, if it's a fan vote, you're probably going to go with Noah Gragson. I mean, the guy's not afraid to put the bowl cut on TV and try to punch out Ross Chastain.
Right, but the reason I say that is there's a comment behind that question, and it's, if that would have been Ty Gibbs instead of Noah Gragson, I would have been the one right here on the podcast going, see, I told you he was going to be this punk ass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would have been the first one saying that.
That punk ass kid got punched right in the face.
Right.
And,
yeah. He came in, I told him, you're going to come into the sport, you go out there and race clean, and you learn from these guys, you don't ruffle any feathers. And then he goes and does something like that. But a lot of people were cheering Noah for it, but I think, just like myself, a lot of people would have criticized Ty Gibbs in a negative way for it.
Yeah, I think had if we take Noah Gregson out of that equation and put Ty Gibbs in his place with Ross Chastain, I'm pulling for Ross Chastain.
Yeah,
I'm like, punch him
and
again.
that's where I was going with it.
Yeah,
Was
dot his other eye.
put him over your knee.
Because I do believe, and this is again going back to the Ty Gibbs thing where I don't mind him right now, but this time last year I was just looking for anybody to just punch that kid out because he deserved it. And sometimes you just need punched in the face to straighten up, to start acting right. That's the lesson of life that sometimes people need. And I do believe as gets a little bit more comfortable in that car, and after he gets a couple of years of experience on that track, he might start turning back into that asshole, you know. And I hope he don't. But once you've got that attitude, it usually don't go away without
Don't go
somebody,
away long. Yeah,
without somebody making it go away. And there's still a few guys out there on them tracks that will make it go away because he's not a big guy, you know.
No,
So,
hell no.
and I'm not a big guy either. I just don't see him being very scrappy, you know. And I'm scrappy as hell, and I've got a mouth that won't stop. So the fight's usually not over until I say it's over, but I just don't see Ty being that same way, you know. I come from a different generation.
Right.
So
All right.
Kevin Harvick, is he going to get a win?
Yeah.
I hope so. I'm hoping so, man. He's been so close so many times. But he's got a few tracks coming up that fits him, you know. I mean, he does good at Richmond. Got Michigan. I don't really know how he does good at. I don't know how he does at Pocono. Is he pretty good at Pocono?
Not bad. I mean, you can't.
He's kind of like Kyle Busch. There's not really a track out there except for a dirt track or a road course.
Well, Kyle can win on a road course, and he's proved to win on a dirt. But I mean, Kevin's not bad on road courses, but he can win at a super speedway, and he can win at a mile and a half.
Yeah.
With one eye closed, I mean,
we got Atlanta coming up, and that's where he won his first win.
If his right,
I think that would be cool as hell.
It's a different Atlanta than it was then.
That's true.
So I mean, I just want to see the guy get it. I'd love to see him get multiple wins. Being this is his exit year.
I would love to see it come next week at Atlanta. You know, same spot he won his first one.
Yeah.
Win his last one, and it may be the last one. Who knows? But to win that at Atlanta, I think that would just be, pretty cool. So, fantasy not included in your opinion. Is it going to be a Chevy, Toyota, or Ford that wins at Chicago? Taking fantasy out of it.
I think it's going to be a Toyota.
I'm looking at a Chevy.
I mean, I'd love to see a Ford win it,
Well,
period. And, I mean, I think our best hopes for Ford to do it is Logano or Blaney.
Yeah.
And maybe Briscoe, because he's not bad on road courses.
How's Buescher do on road courses?
Not horrible.
He's not bad.
No.
He doesn't stand out to me, but he's not bad.
He's a top 10. I mean, he was top 10 all day at Sonoma, the whole day. And I mean that, like getting all the way up into third and fourth. And I believe he may have even led when green flag pit stops happened.
Yeah, he might have. I think I remember.
I mean, you can't count him out. But I mean, I'd like to see Brad Kay come out and get something, But I think just what we've seen this year, Joey and Blaney are our two Fords that could do it. Yeah. And I think Briscoe's right there behind him.
I think Brad Kay's best chance is going to be at Atlanta or Daytona.
Talladega.
Or Talladega.
It's Mr. 6-time at Talladega there.
Yeah. Well, I'm just talking before the playoffs start,
gotcha.
Being Atlanta or Daytona. And then if he can lock one of them in, watch out for him at Talladega, because then he can punch his ticket to the next round. So,
but I mean, I'd like I said, I'd love to see Harvick get a win. I'd like to see him get 10 more wins this season, or
Yeah.
10 wins this season. But in a sense, I'm going to be most excited about going to the Bristol night race again this year. And I would love to see Kevin Harvick
That'd be awesome.
break that egg right there. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's
Well, Kevin, if you're listening, and I'm sure you are, if you win at the Bristol night race, we're going to be there. We'll be more than happy to come down and party with you.
Yep.
You know?
We'll get you
Make
on.
sure you get celebrating right.
Absolutely. We'll make sure you do. And
We'll get you a good send off to that next race. I don't even know what's after Bristol. I don't have the schedule memorized.
Tell Delaney you're in good hands. Just let us.
Oh yeah.
Come on,
Yeah.
Kevin's coming.
You will
with us.
definitely come back with some few stories.
Yep.
Guaranteed that.
We'll get hammered, and then we'll record an episode of Rod the Wall podcast, and we'll get Kevin Harvick's true, real, no holds barred opinion on everybody.
Oh yeah. Right there from the infield at Bristol.
Right. We'll be doing shots, and
first one I'm going to ask him about is Chase Elliott. But that's
play a game of asshole or not an asshole. You know,
yeah,
with
that
Kevin
would be
Harvick.
fun. That would be fun. Well, let's look at this fantasy stuff. We didn't really have much of a shakeup.
No.
Except for Jason H. He dropped 4 spots. I think. Who did he pick last week? I don't remember. Was it Priest or Cindric? No.
No, it was Cindric.
Did he pick Cindric?
Yep.
Because Hunter also
I
picked
took
Cindric.
Priest.
Well, my first question
Here,
about
hang
this.
on, I can tell you.
My first question about this fantasy stuff. Have you heard from Hunter lately?
Yes, me and him was texting the other night. And I've got
Okay.
I got his input.
Okay. Well, I've been worried about
Yeah,
him all
He
week.
took Cindric at Nashville. Jason H. did.
Okay.
So, to find the conversation here, because I want to get it right. I don't want to quote somebody and get it wrong. It's not my style.
Right.
Okay, so I texted him Tuesday evening at 8:30 and said third place.
Because I know he had a really hard time when he fell to second.
Right. So
So
Tuesday
now that
evening-
he's in third.
Tuesday evening at 8:30, I said third place. He said, "Yeah, pretty fucking embarrassing." Then he said, "I don't think I've been in third place since maybe week 1 or 2 of last year."
Yeah.
And that's probably accurate.
That's about right.
I said, "Right." I told Chad he's probably freaking the fuck out right now.
Uh-huh.
He said, "Yeah, man, it gets tough when you don't want to use a driver for the second time, getting in the bottom of the barrel now." I said, "It only matters where you finish, man." He said, "Very true." After that, he got into fantasy picks and stuff. So
Yeah. Well, he's on the right track. You know, he don't want to burn guys out too early. So that's good that he's thinking that. And that's I'm going to tell you that's always been my strategy. It don't matter the first half of the season. I'm going to start picking guys that can kind of hold me in some positions. I don't want to get in the bottom of the barrel. I don't want to be Mike R down here, you know. That was me last year. Just no luck whatsoever.
So here's what I'm going to say. My philosophy is if I can stay in the top 10 of the fantasy numbers when the playoffs start, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Because for people that ain't in it and don't know, once the playoffs start, the numbers don't matter. They go away. You
Right.
might have a 40-point lead from first to second. When the playoffs start, you get a 3-point lead.
Right, because the points
Everybody-
get reset three
Increments.
points per position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Starts with 0, increments of 3 all the way down.
Yes. So like me right now, I'm in 12th spot. So if the playoffs were to start today,
You'd start with 36.
something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with it, and I'm the same as you. I want to be right within that top 10. I don't care if I'm 10th spot.
Right.
I want to be right around the top 10
Yeah.
when the playoffs start.
Now, if you start, what's 26 times 3? 78. So,
Let me tell you, that's a big hole to dig out of.
right, that's a very hard hole with 10 races to dig out of.
Yeah.
That's why I like to stay in the top, around the top 10. Anywhere between 1 and 10, I'm fine. I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm sitting 12th right now, and
I'm in 11th.
happy as could be at 12th spot right now. 'Cause I know that
I
pain.
mean, Mom jumped up and passed me.
Well, she's been jumping up, passing everybody. I
Right.
mean, last week she fell a spot. I didn't know how she was going to handle that, but she did fine with that, I'm sure. But I knew it wouldn't take long. She's going to be going right back up. Hunter's going to have to deal with Mama Lou here before too
Yeah, it's
long.
coming.
And he's not going to.
He's
He's
usually
not going to be
not
able
gonna win that battle.
No, he's not. No. She jumped up 2 spots. She passed HR,
Yeah.
which, and she made it look easy. That HR guy, I tell you what, he's been wearing me out. He's picking the same driver as me, and we just had a discussion about, an hour or so ago that he was wanting to know who I picked, and he's like, "I bet we picked the same driver." I said, "You don't know. I don't know." Turns out we did. Um, it's not 7 o'clock yet, so we can't really discuss it too much, but.
Well, we can because it won't get posted till after 7.
Well, yeah, that's true. Well, I went with Allmendinger, and like I said, I've had Chicago, I've had Allmendinger penciled in pretty much all year for this one race. And I wasn't going to change it. I'm not going to change it. I'm just surprised that he took the dinger. So, usually on a road course, he's going to pick a Chase Elliott or a Logano or something like
Or
that.
Byron.
Or a Byron, yeah. So I'm really surprised that we picked the same driver this week. I do know last week, well, I'm going to go ahead and say this. The people who picked winners last week was Josh. He moved up to second place with that. And he's only 1 point out of the lead. So
He's got 5 wins.
Yeah, he's doing really good.
5 or 6, actually.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I know Joe T and Josh are only separated by 1 point at the very top of the standings. Hunter has fell down 20 points off of second place.
159 to 179.
That's kind of one of the reasons why I was worried about Hunter. He's used to being out there in the clean air, looking in his rearview mirror. Now he's got to deal with some traffic.
Yeah, he's got to deal with some lip.
Yeah. Riggs picked a winner. Earl picked a winner. I don't know if that was Earl or Sonya. I'm going to say it was Sonya because it was a winner. Earl picks the wieners. Sonya picks the winners.
Right.
That's just the way life goes. Jess picked a winner, and she got really pissed off because she picked a winner and she didn't move up.
Right.
Boy, I heard about that for 3 days. I'm still hearing about that.
I mean, no points is better than
I told her quit
any
being so
points.
far behind.
Right.
If you wasn't as far behind, you wouldn't have that problem.
Quit slacking.
Exactly. And then Brian picked a winner too. Jess and Brian just seem to be staying right there in the same. She don't know that Brian looks just like Martin Truex Jr. So
She don't?
no, she don't know that. So she would be happy staying around Brian for the whole thing.
But does Brian even like girls?
Sometimes.
Sometimes?
Sometimes. It just depends on how he feels, really.
Okay.
And how much alcohol he's had.
Right. Well, I mean, I see a lot of texts go between him and Jeremy, so I wasn't sure.
Well, yeah. Keep your eye out down in Bardstown about.
Speaking of
Brian.
Jeremy, I think anybody in the league that listens to our podcast, put your thoughts and prayers with him too. He's been having a rough go the past week, losing his mom. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Well, I seen the text that he was having a rough week. I didn't know
Yeah.
the details or anything like that. Well,
He,
sorry to hear that, Jeremy.
Yeah.
I know I'll give you a hard time, but
That's all in fun.
That's
he knows
all in
that.
fun, yeah.
Jeremy knows that. He's just like the rest of us, but I will say, poor guy's had a rough week. So,
well, maybe he can turn that around.
that's a tough one.
That is a tough one.
The mom.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So we had 5 people pick winners last week. I don't see us having that many winners this week, unless Allmendinger wins, and then we might have. I'm sure there's probably been quite a few Allmendinger picks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't get away from these people.
Let me tell you this: if Allmendinger crashes early, I could go from 11th to 1st.
Oh my gosh. Man. Hold on, it's not 7 o'clock. No, I won't do that. I was hoping a lot of people would pick Cendric. That's what was my hopes. Or Logano, Really? A lot of people pick Dinger? Damn it.
Yeah.
Well,
Probably the only ones that won't will be the ones that are auto drawn.
well, shit.
But
So I guess, well, I mean,
there
that's
is a lot of them, but I don't know how
I
many
look at that
exact.
two ways. It pisses me off because I can't move up. But if something happens like what you said, Allmendinger goes out early, I'm not going to drop too much either. So that's how I kind of look at that. Unless he wins, and then I get fussy.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I just need HR to quit picking my driver. That's my focus right now, is to pick somebody that HR is not going to pick.
I think he goes more for who's Chad going to pick so I can piss him off than
I think
who's
he
going to
does.
win this race.
I think he does. He's already looking at Atlanta and New Hampshire trying to see who I'm going to pick. But
you know who he's going to take at Atlanta.
yeah, I know who he's going to pick at Atlanta. He's going with his boy Bubba.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. He always tries to pick Bubba.
I know.
Every week he talks about.
He tried to buy my Bubba picks off of me.
Did he?
Yeah.
That don't surprise me at all. How much did he offer you?
It was a hefty sum. But I mean, when it's your favorite driver,
Right.
you don't come at me with change.
Yeah, it's priceless then. I'm kind of looking down here through these positions, and I'm looking at Joey N down there at the bottom, 25th out of 26. He's been down there the whole year. He's about ready to pass Tyler.
Yeah.
He's only 1 point away.
Tyler's been having a rough go.
He has.
But
Tyler was up there towards the top last year, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's hangs up there.
How's he handling being at the bottom?
He ain't saying a whole lot.
Well, you can't really when you're at the bottom.
Yeah, but I turned my pick in on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I took 54 Ty Gibbs.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the only one, because everybody turns their picks into me by Thursday. I was the only one, number 54 Ty Gibbs. And I thought, boy, if this pans out, this could be huge for me. And then Joey N sends me his pick today. It says 54 Ty Gibbs. I thought,
man.
Because he has had the worst luck. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he could.
Right. Yeah, I always hate seeing when one of the guys at the bottom picked the same guy as me, and we're the only two that pick those drivers. It's like last week. I picked Byron, and then Mike R had Byron, so I was like, oh great. Luckily, it worked out for me, but Little D, we haven't.
Very odd that a Byron works out for you.
Right, that's the first time ever, I think. I'm still waiting on Bowman to work out for me, but haven't heard a whole lot from Little D. Little Donovan down there. He was mouthy early in the season.
His father-in-law just sent me his pick. I don't know if he's so down in the dumps that he won't even give me his pick, but Tony sent me he said Donovan wants number 8.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So and I could almost hear Tony's text message, like, Donovan is getting beat up so bad this year.
Yeah.
That he don't even want to talk to us.
Papa's got to come in and start handling business for you, huh? Well, you'll have that. Give him a couple years. Let some hair grow, and it'll happen. It'll happen. But my goal for the next couple of weeks is just to pass HR. Whatever happens other than that, I don't want Earl to pass me. So, and he's only 1 point behind me. So,
right, but if he picked this week, you're safe.
So you've already got his pick.
Mm-hmm.
He picked the Allmendinger too. He reminded me at work that he picked a winner last week. I said, yeah, but you still didn't pass me. So that's the only thing I could really come back with. Because outside of that one race where he
just
picked,
turned it in at 7 o'clock on the nose.
He is good at that.
7 p.m. You can see it.
Well,
wow.
I was just saying, I was hoping some people picked Cindric.
And Earl takes it.
And Earl did it. That's an Earl pick right there, I think. I'm sorry, Sonia, if that was your pick. But
I mean, if it's an Earl pick, Cindric might as well just stay home this weekend.
But I don't know. What do you think about it? Who do you see that's standing out to you?
I think so. And I said that earlier in the podcast. That Cindric wouldn't surprise me if he don't pull something out this race because he's got super speedway speed, but he's a natural road course driver.
Yeah.
So I mean, we know
And
we know he can work that clutch, and he's got the speed.
yeah, I'm gonna be holding my breath to be honest with you, because like I said, I was debating Cindric, but I thought no, this track is just made for Allmendinger. Why I think that I don't know. But that's just what I think. And
I mean, Penske's got a deeper playbook than.
true. Then colleague.
You're right. So I mean, it's going to come. I think it's going to come down to.
But you got to think Allmendinger's kind of a veteran on this kind of stuff too. And
is.
even though it kind of plays into Cindric's wheelhouse, but he don't have the laps that Allmendinger has.
Right. But who's got the equipment?
Well, there we go again. They're supposed to be equal, right? So this might come down to a Chevy versus Ford. I don't know.
I'm gonna have to.
I don't know. You know, when I first seen the text there that he picked Cindric, I was like, all right, I'm good. But I don't know. I'm nervous now. I don't want Earl to pass me. It might happen, though. I'm only 10 points behind you.
Right.
I don't know. It's tough when you're racing out the windshield and the rear view at the same time, you know.
Yep.
I got Earl pushing me, trying to catch up to you. Trying to pull a little shake and bake.
Absolutely.
I don't know. Could get interesting.
It's gonna be really good for them. Eighth, which is Mama Lou, eighth to.
It's tight all the way down to like.
I mean,
after eighth, it's just tight.
All the way down to 21st.
Yeah.
I mean, it's. I think you'll see a lot of. Well, you probably won't see a lot of movement because there's a lot of same drivers picked.
Yeah.
But
at the top. Or just all the way through?
All the way through.
Okay.
So, we'll see what happens. That's all we can do is sit back and drink some beers and see who
pull
pulls
for your driver.
Pull for your driver and the one you picked in the fantasy league.
Right. Yeah, I find myself doing that a lot, you know.
So, let me ask you this.
Okay.
Who's your favorite NASCAR driver on the circuit right now?
I kind of have two. I've got one that's a little bit ahead of the other one. I'm going to say Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch, just because of just their nature and how they drive.
Okay, so say you.
I know where this is going, I think.
Yeah, let's say you pick Christopher Bell in the fantasy league to win the race, and Kyle Larson, you're one of your favorite drivers. They're going first and second.
Mm-hmm.
Final lap.
I'm hoping Bell wrecks him.
So you take fantasy over your favorite.
Yes.
Over your fan favorite.
Yes.
Okay.
So yes, that's what I do. Why do I do that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Just because pride wants me to win this fantasy thing so bad.
This is your competition, not
I know,
on that track.
Exactly.
I get what you're saying.
Exactly. But if Kyle Larson ends up beating Christopher Bell in that situation and they run 1-2 like that, then I'm happy too. Because my favorite driver won, I've got good points.
See, that's where I fall. If Kevin Harvick's up there, and let's just say I picked Truex Jr. to win, and Harvick and Truex are going battling for first and second, I want Kevin Harvick to win and Truex to get second.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, I know there's a 2-point difference, but
them 2 points, that could mean a lot.
Absolutely, it could. It could mean money. It could mean the difference between money and no money.
Yeah.
So, but I've also got that pride of my guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So.
But I'm just not that attached. I mean, Larson and Busch are my favorite guys. You know, I want to see them win every week, right? But at the same time, if they don't win, well, it doesn't break my heart. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I don't get
Right.
all butt hurt like a lot of people do and a lot of fans do. Like these, I'll just go ahead and say it, like the Chase Elliott fans do.
Right.
You know, they're making enough money. They'll be all right.
Yeah.
So, and they'll be back next week. You know, Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson. They're both every track we go to. They're a threat to win. They're one of the favorites to win. So, we're gonna be right back in that same situation. I just hope. But what usually happens, and here's what really pisses me off. I try to save my favorite drivers for these tracks that I really think they're going to do good on, you know, so I can nail that win.
So you can get both sides of it.
Yeah, so I can enjoy that my favorite driver won. I can maximize points on this fantasy stuff. But I don't even know where I was going with that. I just had a thought right in my head. It just went away. But I don't know. I thought it came back.
I see what you're
But
saying.
you know what I
just
mean?
Like,
It's
just like me picking Kevin Harvick at Phoenix.
Yes.
I nailed it with my fantasy.
Makes me feel really good about it.
Because it's his track. He's got a huge fan base there. And I mean, really anywhere he goes.
Yeah.
I mean, he don't have the Chase Elliott fan base, but
I know where I was going with this, but when I do that, I get into that situation. I just said doo-doo.
yeah,
When
I picked up on that.
When I get into that situation, I've got Larson penciled in for Vegas or Kansas, you know, one of his really good tracks. And then something like a Bubba Wallace issue happens, and he gets taken out for some stupid reason when he was obviously the fastest car on the track, and I get so tore up over that.
Yep.
That's what tears me up the most. When my guy had the win, you know he's going to win. And I picked him to win because I have absolutely 0 wins in this fantasy league. I cannot pick a winner to save my ass.
I think, if I remember right, like I'm in 11th place right now. Other than, like, I have 0 wins this season.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one person between me and number 1 that has 0 wins. I think that's Chris L. He's doing really good.
Yeah, he's
no
doing really
wins,
good.
And he's in 5th spot. I think it's him.
I'm pulling it up real quick here. RidingTheWall.com. Little cheap plug. Yep. Chris has 0 wins. He's the only one above you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I cannot pick a winner to save my life on this thing.
So, me, I'm happy that I'm in 11th and I haven't picked a winner all year. You know what I'm saying?
I'm the same way.
I mean, the guys in seconds picked 5 or 6,
Mm-hmm.
And that just shows me that my picks are consistent. I'm doing good on some top 10s, top 12s, top 13s, but I'm up there pretty often. I've got a couple in the 20s, but it happens.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way as you. I mean, I'm 12th place, 10 points behind you. But we're in a pack of cars where one good race, we're going to jump up a lot. One bad race, we're going to fall really bad. So
Yeah.
I'm holding my breath. Luckily, the Dinger, apparently everybody's picked him. So I'm not too worried about falling. I'm more worried about falling right now than I am moving up.
My car will catch you. Don't worry about it.
Well, he's a... Boys, I'd have to put a lot of bad races together to be down here with my car. And he'd have to win a lot.
So,
wow. But, yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully the Dinger can pull this out, and I might be able to get a win. Hopefully. Did Chris pick my car? Did Chris pick Allmendinger? Since he don't have any wins. Just curious.
he did not.
Uh-oh. So if Allmendinger wins, I can get out of that 0 column in the wins, huh?
Yeah, he took Kyle Larson.
It might not be a bad pick. He's turning into quite the road racer.
We've said it before. You put him in a pedal car and he's gonna win. You know what I mean? He's good.
He is good. But,
all right, folks.
well, that's all I've got for this week.
we're gonna do our burnout and show you all the tail lights.
That's right. So wherever you're going this week to watch some racing, enjoy it. Hope you have a good time, and we will see you next week.
Right in the face.